It's This Week in Bourbon, and I don't even know what's happening anymore. Here's your headlines for April 11th, 2025. Buffalo Trace stops production because of flooding. Bourbon is now exempt from the European Union tariffs. And Pursuit launches the Mellwood Legacy Collection. And before we get started, here's a quick word from our partners. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is This Week in Bourbon. And Ryan, I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. We came back from vacation, and it feels like all hell's broken loose.
Yeah, it's mayhem here, but all good things. A lot of growing pains, a lot of things going on. Just it feels like every day I come in with like 20 things to do, and I'm lucky to get 3 things knocked off because there's so many
the
distractions.
Backlog just keeps coming up,
and it's just like things keep getting at it. But it's all good things, not complaining.
It's the way things go.
Yep.
So anyway, this is the TikTok that I was talking about. It was absolutely hilarious.
I just came from the dispensary.
I don't even once.
Where is that noise coming from? I will get this figured out. Give me 1 second. If I go here,
trying to get better at taste.
There's Wayne. All right, here you ready?
Yep.
I just came from the dispensary, and now I'm walking to my neighbor's to get eggs from her little stand over there. I'm buying eggs on the street and weed in the store. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I just came from the dispensary.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. that's the way things are happening now. You can buy weed at the store.
Eggs are on the black market.
But I mean, I guess to President Trump, I guess egg prices have come down. I don't know. I don't buy enough eggs, and neither do you to really kind of notice, but.
Yep. I have my own stash at home.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Lucky you. Let's talk about a few things. One, see 60 Minutes?
I did. Yeah, that was very cool. I wish it was a little longer. I felt like short, but I know 60 minutes, but it was so interesting and intriguing. I wanted them to go deeper, I guess. But I get it. For most people who aren't into bourbon, probably that was enough content for them.
Yeah.
But for us, you see all that stuff all the time. You're like, I just want to go a little deeper.
It was cool. I just like seeing the showcase on America's Native Spirit, on bourbon, everything that we're all trying to do. Shout out to Dan Calloway and Ben and Jess Lowski. They all did a fantastic job. Yeah, I mean, all former people that have been on the podcast before. So awesome to be able to see them kind of get the spotlight and helping drive everything we're trying to do and get it to a greater mass audience. I mean, that's what it takes to be able to get bourbon to greater audiences. And hell, 60 Minutes, that's really fucking
That's
cool.
pretty awesome. And it's awesome. It was the first time I heard bourbon compared to a seesaw.
Yeah, it really was. It's
the
good perfect balance. It is funny because the seesaw, you take turns on where you're finding the balance. Right? You never want to stop right in the middle.
No, never. But yeah, they all did a great job. It was super entertaining and really great for the category. So exciting times for it.
So we had 60 Minutes. That was good. I also saw something that was very beneficial, I think, for guys like me, guys like you. Have you watched the season finale of White Lotus yet?
I did watch it last night. I normally watch on Monday night, but it was national championship night, so I watched it last night. And I mean, it brought some closure to some things. I was really stressed, but
You're stressed.
I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was sort of kind of let down too by the end. I don't know. I thought
it was decent.
It was decent. I mean, I don't know.
I think the point I'm trying to make though is that now that Walton Goggins is considered one of the sexiest man alive, receding hairlines are in, my friend. Like we stand a chance once again on the open market if it came down to it.
Yeah, I just need to get tanner and get a draw.
And he's got those pearly whites, the baby Billy, those pearly whites. So,
that's right.
I saw that and I was like, well, we gotta bring that up too. Other things, I'll talk about one more time for the 3rd annual Bonsai Weekend happening Friday, May 30th through June 1st. It's happening in the Louisville Waterfront Botanical Gardens. You can get your tickets at bonsaiweekend.com.
Go Bonsai.
Bonsai. And I put it in the headlines, but I didn't actually put it in the news feed here because we have talked about it a lot with our own podcast, our own thing, talking about the Mellwood Legacy Collection.
Worst kept secret ever.
Worst kept secret in bourbon you've ever seen before. But excited to finally announce it, put it out there. I'm doing better at now telling people that are coming for bottling to say, hey, don't talk about it. Don't take pictures because it totally ruined our surprise for everything. So we got to make sure we put the wraps on things a little bit more. But, I think that's the fun part of giving people the inside scoop of what's happening here.
Yeah. makes them part of the story. And true pursuit fashion, we screw up everything.
We screw it up once again.
Yep.
But if you do want to know more about it, go check it out at pursuitspirits.com. You can go check it out there at the very top under the brands. There's the new Mellwood Legacy Collection. And I went on a super deep dive of getting into Mellwood history. And so there's a button on there that says you can read more Mellwood history. I mean, it's some good toilet bowl reading
fascinating.
Right there. Yeah.
If you're into whiskey and history, you'll enjoy it. Not, you'll be bored to death. But
there's a lot. There's pictures, there's artifacts, as much stuff that I could put together, listed out all the sources. So thanks to Chuck Cowdery, thanks to Brian Hara, thanks to even Chet Zoller's not with us anymore, but thanks to him, his book was part of this research and everything too. This was actually one of the reasons why I went back to Louisville Public Library and started checking out books again.
He's like, I'm going to the library. Like, you don't read. What are you doing there?
It's not an audiobook, but I was able, because a lot of these books, I mean, I had to get probably 3 or 4 different books, and some of like Chet's book, I think it's like $50 or $80 to order on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'll just see if it's available for rent. And what do you know? I think maybe only here in Louisville do you have pretty much every bourbon book and every bourbon author is in the Louisville Free Public Library.
Wow, that's very cool. You just messed up Trey's royalties on that.
But more people know about it. So if you don't happen to be in Louisville, then now you can go to Amazon. You go get yourself and buy one of those books.
That's right.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out. We're very excited to be able to have it. You can get Mellwood Bottled and Bond here at the distillery, $29.99, and Derbytown, 7-year Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, barrel proof, 122 proof, $49.99 out the door.
Best deal in bourbon.
I'd say we are just creating all kinds of good deals around here. What was it? Somebody else said something the other day. Actually, I was on a phone call with somebody and they said, so the whole shebang, you get the bottle with that too? I was like, yeah, all included, all in, $150. He goes, man, alive, this is a good deal right here. I was like, I know. We should be charging more for everything.
I know, but we grew up when bourbon was affordable, and we want to keep it affordable. Yes. So that's our motto.
Make bourbon affordable again.
That's right.
Well, let's go ahead and let's dive in with some of the news. And the first one is, if you did not even open up social media in the past 96 hours, then you probably didn't see that Buffalo Trace is now temporarily closed after the flooding has been sweeping through Kentucky. This has made them turn away not only just the staff, but as well as the public. They had a statement released on Sunday and said that they would remain closed through around April 10th. And the more that the date could probably change. And I can tell you right now, it's probably going to change. From what I've heard is that it's still potentially going to get worse, but who knows what's going to happen. They said, due to the unprecedented and ongoing rain and flooding, we're not able to advise on the impact of our total distillery footprint. They're going to assess the realities in the coming days as the facilities become safe to navigate, and will make necessary adjustments to operate as required. It was not immediately known how much of Buffalo Trace's inventory, ranging from barrels, bottles, or other items, may have been damaged, and they declined to comment any further.
Yeah, the pictures look devastating. I mean, I know they've dealt with floods before, but this one's like, it's a
high water mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty high. And you think about, if you've been to that property, the gift shop sits pretty low. Even some of the rick houses, like some of them, like where you do the barrel pick, it's a little elevated. I think you probably have like 6 to 8 feet of elevation before you hit the first floor of the rick house. But a lot of them some of them you walk in, and and that's where a lot of their high end, like Van Winkle Weller, lines sit. So gosh, I don't know. It looks devastating. I feel terrible for them.
Yeah.
And not just them, but everybody in Central Kentucky and whoever's dealing with this flood. I was in Central Kentucky on Sunday trying to get back from my in-laws have a place in Nolan Lake, but we were trying to get back, and just driving around, it is devastating. These rural communities, this flooding is just horrendous. So keep Buffalo Trace, but also keep all the Kentuckians in your prayers, because it's brutal out there.
It's crazy. I mean, all the pictures were there. I was kind of flabbergasted because they've flooded before. You've seen Bourbon Pompeii underneath water there, yep. And they're pretty much used to that now. You can actually go through the tour there, and they have chalk lines or paint lines of where the water marks are for particular years, going back to like 1917 or something like that. But this one's going to be up there.
Yeah. They might want to move everything next to Steg Lodge next time, where it's on top of the hill.
But move everything on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Did you see more stuff around the news of some of the local businesses here in Louisville that started flooding their.
Oh yeah, I saw the captain's quarters.
Exactly,
put fresh water to keep the. I didn't understand that. I don't know what's the logic.
Well, so what they did is they removed So, everybody that doesn't know, Captain's Quarters is a place that's down here on the river. It floods at least once a year. Like they're out of business for at least 4 weeks a year because of flooding. It just always happens. They're right there on the river, but it's just physics at this point. So what they do is they removed all of electronics, anything that they could salvage, tables, chairs, get it all out of there. And then they closed the doors and started flooding the inside of their restaurant with tap water and well water and everything they could. So they had clean water. So as the water is coming up from this side, it basically creates a barrier, and it won't, and they essentially like push each other up as they start going. And at some point when this starts going down, then the clean water will start pushing its way out.
Interesting.
Yes. So
I just thought maybe it was because like you had the weight of the flood water pushing in from the, and that you had equal.
It does. It essentially counterbalances each other.
Yeah.
And so it keeps all the muddy water out, which is safe to say a good idea. I did see in the comments somebody said, "Well, what do you think their insurance people are going to say about self-flooding?"
I don't think they insure it. I think they're uninsurable. I think they self-insure it, from what I've heard, and they just budget for rebuilding that patio and stuff every year.
Golly, no wonder their fish sandwiches are so expensive.
That's right. I mean, during the summer, it's one of the cooler places to go, eat and just sit on you feel like you're in in the ocean or something, sitting right on the river. They have all those great Adirondack chairs with live music, and you see all the boats coming in and out. Yeah. And it's a fun spot.
It is. So anyway, flooding sucks. Thank you for everybody that has also reached out to us and said, "Hey, you guys okay? Is everything okay with you?" Yeah, we've been fortunate. We're pretty high up. Well, I'd say we're high up. We're about a half a mile from where the road is underneath water near the Mellwood Arts Center, which is not far away from us. So
we're about 2 blocks away from it.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody that actually did mention something to us. I was like, we'll be fine. And then I'm like, I guess it's not that far down the road that it's underneath water. So
I know I was looking at maps on Sunday, and you kept saying we'd find them. I was like, the flood maps, it's getting pretty damn close.
Yeah. I forget Beargrass Creek is literally like a football throw away from us right now. Well, I mean, it would probably be a punt pass kick for me, but anybody that has a real arm could probably throw it.
Totally.
All right, keep going here. The European Union will hit the U.S. with a 25% tariff on all range of goods in response to duties of aluminum and steel. But, however, it said it has now exempted bourbon after heavy lobbying from France, Italy, and Ireland, which they are seeking to shield alcohol industries from this escalating trade war. And it says that U.S. President Donald Trump had threatened a 200% levy on European alcohol should bourbon be targeted.
Yeah.
He stood up for us.
He did. And I'm sure we import a lot more European spirits than they import American. If I had to guess, I'm assuming because of champagne, French wines, Italian wines, Spanish wines,
Scotch,
beer,
all that.
Yeah. So I'm sure they looked at that and they were like puckered up and said, let's not help us help you.
Yeah. True. Very true. Very true. Yeah. I've already gotten one of the emails from our local liquor store around here that we go to, and they basically said, get ready for a price hike on all your wines here that are not domestic.
Yeah.
So
I saw
your
a
Spanish
bunch of people
reds,
stocking up on champagne and stuff, just because of and that's the thing, like, there's been a lot of economic stimulus because of the threat of tariffs, because people went in bulk buy. Now that'll probably cost sales in the future, but I think I was seeing some reports like champagne was up X amount of percent because of people, just going in closet buying because they were worried about prices going up.
I feel like I read this book before.
Yep.
I don't know where it was, but
humans, man.
Yes.
We're animal spirits.
And repetitive in nature is the best way to say it. So this was an interesting one, not bourbon related, but I thought it was interesting to put on here that according to a forgotten 20-year-old European Union agreement with Canada, European whiskey producers are prohibited from labeling their rye whiskeys as rye whiskey. And under this suddenly enforced European Union agreement, it is not compliant for European whiskey producers to use the term rye whiskey for their labeling. Call it bad timing, but the rule took effect on April 1st. And according to the legislation, agreement was made to protect Canadian rye whiskey, which in reality doesn't actually need to be made from rye. As a surprise to not only whiskey producers in the European Union, but even Canada was not aware of it as well. To note, back when the agreement was signed back in 2003, the production of rye whiskey in European Union countries was close to almost being non-existent.
That's fascinating because I know Barrel had like a lot of those really, really delicious Polish ryes in some of their and their blends and whatnot.
Early blends, I remember that.
And I've had some Danish ryes that are really good too. I had them at the World Whiskey Festival. So when I read this, I was like, who the hell put that in the, like, why would you concede to that?
Why would you protect Canada? Yeah,
right.
I have no idea, which is interesting because this is a much larger article that you can go read saying that you could call it a Canadian rye, but it doesn't have to have rye in the mash bill, but it's
like
protected.
Having a wheated bourbon with rye in the mash bill.
There we go. Shut up, Penelope.
Yep.
All right. Well, this is a very big monumental one here, is that Heaven Hill has now hit a new significant milestone with the filling of its first barrel at its new Heaven Hill Springs Distillery, which officially is bringing distilling back to Bardstown for the nation's largest family-owned and lead spirits producer. This moment launches production at the new facility, paving the way for continued growth as Heaven Hill approaches its 90th anniversary happening in December 2025. Adding to the celebration, retired distiller Charlie Downs will also be there, and he served as master distiller for the day. Downs, who worked at Heaven Hill for all three of the previous distilleries, began his career at the original at the original Springs Distillery, which was destroyed by the fire in 1996. This first barrel also signals the start of production at the new $200 million facility, with the full completion of the project anticipated to be in September. The project sets the foundation for Heaven Hill's next chapter as the company approaches its 90th anniversary. I already said that. This will initially produce 150,000 barrels annually, with a capacity to scale up to 450,000 barrels.
Wowzers.
Yes.
That's very cool for Charlie, though. I'm happy to read that. He's a great dude. And, but yeah, it's, they have the Chauvet plant, which produces a ton, and then this is coming on board, and it's like, they can make a ton
of bourbon. Because
I think they were making like 1,200 or 1,500 in Chauvet already per day. So it's like, all right, let's pony up. Did you see the still box?
I did. It's insane.
That's awesome.
It's two H's going across each other, and they run through the H's.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Sick. Yeah, I know. Way to go, Vendome.
Yeah, that was awesome. So we're excited to see we get to take our Palooza fans there. Don't we?
Yes, we do. That's going to be a stop for Palooza. You get to be one of the first people behind the scenes. I don't even think it's going to be open to the general public at that point. So that's going to be awesome that we can do that. So shout out to our friends over there for Heaven Hill making that happen too. And, I guess Wilderness Trail no longer has the coolest tail box and whiskey.
Cool.
Yeah. They get to fight for the odds there. But
whoever gets the newest still gets to top the next.
Yeah. Whoever comes up with the next $200 million facility.
Yep.
Looking at you. All right. Next one, we're going to see a few things with Brown-Forman here in the news, is that renowned milliner Gigi Burris is partnering with Woodford Reserve to debut a luxurious and artisanal collection of hats that honor the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. The collection includes 3 styles of hats for women, a men's fedora, and a bespoke unisex rose lapel pin. Customers can explore the collection and shop the limited collection at the Gigi Burris Millinery Store in New York or online at gigiburrismillinery.com.
I want to see you in the fedora.
I am, did you ever watch Workaholics? Never mind, you never did.
No.
I watched Workaholics a lot, and they had one really good episode where they said, in a group of guys, only one guy can wear the fedora. You can't have more than one fedora.
Have multiple.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So,
just remember one of the NSYNC guys wore a fedora to Derby. That's like the only thing I remember about fedoras. Well, I've had some friends try to wear fedoras. Like,
it's not working.
It's not your look, buddy.
Fedora was an answer on Jeopardy a couple weeks ago. It was a $200 question. I got that one right.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it was. Was it Winston Churchill?
$200 question.
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember the question for now, but I did get the answer. Was the fedora? I think it was like what president wore a fedora or something like that. All right, so moving on here, we've got another one. We've actually, I think we might have talked about this a few times already, but maybe it's official now. Oxmoor Bourbon Company. They are now an official partner of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail program, and you can go and get an immersive experience and stroll through their 3 centuries worth of architecture and learn about the 5 generations of legal scholars who have called Oxmoor home. And you get the why, the how, and behind the rules of bourbon told on every distillery tour, and the almost forgotten figures who codified these rules into law to protect the good name of America's only native spirit. So congratulations to them.
Yeah. Beautiful property, lots of history, fascinating history. Some of it's okay, but there's a lot of
fascinating history.
Yeah.
And there's a tie into Mellwood, too.
There is.
There was. So that was really cool.
Sickest library in the world, though.
So freaking cool. To be able to have a drink inside there. I mean, it's what Great Gatsby and books dream of.
Yeah. The only thing I can compare it to, and it's the one at what's that one called in North Carolina? The Biltmore
State.
That one's probably takes the cake, but this one's pretty damn close. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, it's pretty dang sweet. And I had no idea how close you were to the mall when you were there too.
And go Top Golf right afterwards. Or Putt Shack.
I'm surprised people aren't hitting golf balls in their backyard. You're like, oh, sorry, I gotta go across the cemetery and get my golf balls.
Yep. And there's a polo field right there.
Yeah, there's a lot more space there than I would have ever dreamed of, but it was pretty sweet.
Yep.
All right, so let's keep going here. I guess bad news? We'll say bad news. House Spirits, which makes Westward Whiskey, has entered bankruptcy protection that was filed this past Sunday. It's a petition with estimated assets and liabilities both marked as being between $1 million and $10 million. An item labeled a balance sheet attached to the petition listed both assets and liabilities as of February as having been just over $29 million. The debtor's founder and CEO, Thomas Mooney, said in a first-day declaration that the company's liquidity has been squeezed by a number of things, including a drop in demand for alcohol after the pandemic and overproduction. The result has been inventory staying on shelves rather than turning a profit for the company.
Westward, that's the single malt we like.
It is. It's the single malt we love.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah. I'm looking. I know you're looking at bottles right now, aren't you?
I know. I like those guys.
Yeah.
Well, you hate to hear that.
I know. It's unfortunate, but it's the nature of things. And it's the crazy thing about it. We'll see. Chapter 11 it doesn't mean the end of it.
It doesn't mean you're dead.
It doesn't mean you're dead. It's a
restructuring
restructuring and trying to figure everything out. But it's crazy to see how things look on the outside going in, because we always looked at it and we're like, man, they're absolutely just hammering, they're crushing, they got this club, they're doing this, they're sending bottles out, they've got serious elite packaging, and then you read this and you're kind of like, man, I guess sometimes you're shielded away from all that too.
How do you make in this business?
How does anybody make in this business?
Yeah.
Please come drink more Pursuit bourbon.
That's right.
All right, so let's end this on 2 big high notes here. The world famous Kentucky Bourbon Trail welcomed a record 2.7 million visitors in 2024 and celebrated its 25th anniversary with an award-winning rebranding campaign and innovative digital tools to make it easier to plan the bucket list adventure. Visitors from all 50 states and more than 20 countries across 6 continents poured into the Bluegrass State last year, up from 2.5 million visitors back in 2023. And that's the 3rd straight year topping the 2 million mark. So more than 20 million people have now visited the Bourbon Trail in the last 25 years. So here's some stats here for you real quick. 62% of the visitors have incomes above $100,000. 76% of the visitors are from outside Kentucky. Most visitors stay 3 to 5 days in communities featuring the Bourbon Trail Distillery, and visitors spend around $600 to $1,400 during the trip on dining, entertainment, lodging, and transportation.
And that's why I think it's become so popular, is the value that, where else can you go for 3 to 5 days and spend $1,400 to $1,500?
Where were you just at? And your wife wanted to stay one more day. And you said this is going to cost me $1,200.
It was going to be $1,200 more bucks to stay in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, and I was like, "No, honey, we're going home.
We're good.
We're going home." So, I mean, yeah, it's an incredible value to come here, and it's the KBF the KDA and everybody on the trail. They've done a fantastic job. The hospitality has been just out of this world and showing people a good time, and I don't see it slowing down.
I don't either. I can't wait till this hits 5 million visitors.
Yep,
and
I think it's possible.
We're going to be primed for it.
That's right.
I can't wait. We're going to have all that built in. We're going to have an Airbnb above us. We're going to have really good whiskey at a really great price, good experiences. I mean, we're
vending
poised.
Machine of snacks.
We are poised for absolute greatness. So if anybody wants to buy us out, just go ahead and send us an email. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe one of these days, but not yet. All right. So our last one here is that Woodford Reserve is announcing its time-honored tradition of having a very expensive cocktail. This is their unparalleled offering of the 151st Kentucky Derby. You know what they used to do was a $1,000 mint julep cup, right? They said that's not enough. People have way too much money these days. We're going to make a $5,000 mint julep charity cup. And so there's a total of 151 handcrafted julep cups. 51 are the polished pewter that are listed for $1,000 each. And they have 100 sterling silver ones that have heavy 24 karat gold plated that are $5,000 available. These are all both for purchase. And this year, it honors legendary fillies that have conquered the Derby's illustrious course. This is Regret from 1915, Genuine Risk from 1980, and Winning Colors from 1988. Cups can be pre-purchased and must be picked up at Churchill Downs at the $5,000 Mint Julep Cup experience during the Oaks Day, which is Friday, May 2nd, or Derby Day, Friday, May 3rd.
Yeah, I remember seeing the area when you walk in, like kind of what used to be the paddock, but they had the area set up where you get these cups and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, if I could only afford to be in there. It looks really cool.
Hey, you got to sit in some swanky stuff last year. You were in that place where it's all free booze and
the Paddock Club.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's brand new too.
I'm going back there this year. So
lucky you.
Yeah, I had some friends hook me up 40th birthday stuff. So.
You're 40. Well, we're like 2-week countdown.
We are 2-week countdown. Yeah.
Oh man,
I know. I was hoping to have a blowout at
downtown,
but that's
we could still throw it. You just don't want to clean up
my basement instead of that basement.
All right, so now you know if you're ready to start putting in your birthday wishes for Master Blender Cecil over here. Now's the time to start thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I totally forgot to finish this up. Is that they also have a traditional new cocktail they do with the mint julep every year, and this one's called the Philly Mint Julep. So it's 2 ounces of Woodford, 1 bar spoon of handcrafted simple syrup. You can probably just use simple syrup. 1 sprig of chocolate mint. I didn't know that was a thing.
Chocolate mint. Huh?
Yeah. 1 sprig of 1 spring. Is it a spring or a sprig?
Sprig.
Okay. Well, it says a spring of peppermint.
Oh, I don't.
Maybe it is a sprig.
Maybe it is.
Okay. What's the difference between chocolate mint, peppermint, and spearmint?
I don't know. I've never heard of chocolate mint.
Me neither, but apparently there's 3 different kinds of mint that you just got to put 3 different sprigs in there.
It's the triple mint mash.
Yeah. And it's just Woodford with simple syrup.
There you go.
There you go. That's nice.
You get that nice Bavarian ice with it.
Do they still do that?
I think so. Bavarian crushed ice.
I mean, I don't know. I'm too poor to understand.
That's true. Yeah. I've seen it on the news once.
Okay. One time. That's true whiskey lore right there for you. All right. That's all the bourbon news, but stick around. We got some bourbon release news coming up. It is bourbon release news time, and here we go. The first one is some folks we haven't heard from a while, but you got to go see their facility and talk to Trip not too long ago. It was Barrel Craft Spirits. They're debuting their newest expression, which is from their cask finish series, which is the PX Sherry, which is a blend of bourbon whiskeys from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee. They range from 6 to 15 years old, with a derived mash bill of 80% corn, 16% rye, and 4% malted barley. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it's anywhere between 9 and 10, 6 and 15, but it's 115.52 proof. And it retails for $85 a bottle, and there will be 9,000 bottles available.
Sounds interesting. That derived mash bill, must be a lot of Tennessee in there.
There is 80% corn, so we'll see. I have no idea. I like it though. I tell you what, a lot of their foundation stuff that's come out.
Oh, the foundation stuff is great. The double oak's really good too.
Yeah, they're double barreled.
Or double barreled, yeah.
It was called double barreled. Whatever it was doubly delicious.
Yep. Yeah, they're doing some good things again. They've always done good things, but yeah, it's good to see them putting some stuff back out.
For sure. All right, another quick one here is that after a limited 2022 release, Breckenridge Distillery's Cognac Cask Finish Whiskey is now rolling out across the country this month. That's all I got.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
There you go.
One line. Should we do most of these just one line and see what happens?
I like that.
Until we get to a Milam and Green.
You don't have that in you for your press release.
I got to copy and paste all the good deets.
Yep.
So Jack Daniel's, they've also announced the release of a new limited edition Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey in celebration of its continued partnership with the McLaren Formula One team. In the 2025 limited edition McLaren Racing and Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey is 86 proof. That's all I got.
All right. I like it. The brevity.
No price point, just 86 proof and a sweet orange racing stripe on your bottle.
Do you like McLarens?
Yeah, obviously I love cars. I love supercars. I will never own one. My dream is to have a 911 GT3 RS, but
I'll different driveway.
I'll settle for maybe. I'll settle for a Turbo S though. But yes, a 911 would be fun to have, but we'll see what happens when it comes to EVs, and they're even Porsche's making some really sick EVs these days.
I was in shopping. Well, I wasn't. My wife was shopping. Me and my son were walking around, and there was one of those Porsche EV. I don't know what the model, but it looked like a sports car. It looked and sounded awesome because you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And my son was like, "Well, I want it to sound throaty." He's like, "I don't want electric. I want gas because I want like the muffler sound."
Well, we'll see where the road diverts and takes us here in the next 20 years because we'll see what happens.
Yep.
I mean.
I'm like, Rowan, you're not gonna have to worry about that choice.
If my goal for my child was that she wouldn't even have to drive, by now I figured that we would have driverless cars.
Speaking
available.
of, they had those everywhere in like Scottsdale,
Waymos?
in Phoenix. Yeah, the Waymos.
Yeah.
That was freaky.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little Jaguars with like satellites on them, and you look in there like, there's no way in that damn thing. You see somebody in the back of it, and I'm like, I don't know, that's scary.
Just hop in the back and they'll take you. See, that's where I think the future is. There's way too much bureaucracy around like what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. I like this is the future of what it needs to be, is to make sure that my goal is that I can just fall asleep in a car and I just wake up in Florida and I don't have to worry about because the whole idea is like the idea of what we think of what a car looks like today. It does not have to look like a car. It could be a box on wheels and it has a toilet and a bed and it's literally a motorhome, and you just fall asleep and you just show up in a different place. You just plug in the coordinates and you go.
I like driving.
You say that until your kids are crying in the back. They got to stop and go pee, and you're dealing with traffic and you're waiting
it's
on
all
here.
Part of the experience.
See, that's when you'll be harking on.
Jim Gaffigan wouldn't have any jokes if he didn't.
I'm just thinking of like how cool would it be to not have to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here. Bluegrass Distillery is announcing the launch of its new Woodford Reserve Finish series. This is a line of limited release bourbons aged in distinctive finishing barrels. The Woodford Reserve line was originally released to commemorate the opening of the Bluegrass Distillery's new home at the historic Elkwood Farm back in Midway, Kentucky. Intended as a distillery exclusive series, this first release in the finished series features their Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, aged traditionally, then finished in French oak, sourced specifically for the refined character and tight grain. The tightest grain.
The tightest.
119 proof, 272 bottles, $105.
All right. I like that tight grain French.
So tight. That's the tightest grain. That's what we like.
Yep.
Here's another worst kept secret in bourbon, because I've seen this at least out in feeds for gotta be a month or two now, but the press release is here. Penelope Bourbon, they're ready to shake up the ready-to-pour market with the launch of its first ever bottled cocktail, the Penelope Peach Old Fashioned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This blends Penelope's award-winning straight bourbon and rye whiskey with peach bitters and farm-sourced 100% pure maple syrup, creating a balanced, sophisticated twist on the classic Old Fashioned. It's a 750 ml in a white matte bottle, 80 proof, retail price $30.
These are actually really good. I got to try one. I was at a barrel pick with someone.
Was this leftover maple syrup from Rio that they just put in?
It's from Havana.
Oh, Havana.
That's right. But the peach and the maple, it's a pretty... I mean, obviously, I'd rather have a fresh old fashioned, but if you're like, I just don't want to deal with it.
I'm lazy. I get it.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's like $29 or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's good for lazy people like me. I'm even the point where I'm starting to like enjoy the espresso martini action. Maybe slip some Kentucky bourbon in there, but if you can get me that in a really good, ready to pour, ready to drink,
yeah,
I might be on board with that. Especially
On the Rocks one's not bad. Their espresso martini.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like On the Rocks. Comes in a glass bottle. You just put in your fridge and then you pour it over ice. It's actually not bad.
I've seen that now.
Yeah.
You say that. Yeah, I need to give that a shot.
I think it has Kettle One in it. my wife's...
Never mind, I'm out.
My wife's aunt had it, and I was like, this can't be good. And I tried. I was like, that's
pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Not a bad way to start 7 a.m. every day.
That's right.
The White Russian's out. Espresso martini, you're in.
White Russian. The Babowski cocktail.
The dude. So Keeneland and Maker's Mark, they are coming together to have the second bottle in the Greats of the Gate 10-year commemorative bottle series celebrating thoroughbred racing's most iconic horses. This limited edition bottle will arrive. Man, my throat is all over the place today. Will arrive on the shelves on April 11th, the same day as the prestigious $650,000 Maker's Mark Mile during Keeneland's spring meet. The bottle will be available exclusively at select Kentucky retailers and has a suggested retail price of $180. This 2025 Greats of the Gate bottle will honor the legendary racehorse Lexington, who competed from 1853 to 1855, winning 6 of 7 races, and was famously sold to stud for the highest price ever paid for an American racehorse at the time.
Nice. It come with a knitted belt?
It might come with a knitted belt, but anybody that doesn't know, if you ever seen that Lexington bourbon brand with that horse on it, this is...
Whatever happened to that? Does it still exist?
I have no idea. I haven't really gone around and shopped for it recently.
That's true.
There was a Lexington bourbon brand. You know, now that you think about it, I wonder if Lexington Road that runs through here was actually named for the horse, or was about Lexington, Kentucky. Was that named for the horse, or was that named for the city?
Don't know.
And see, Inception, I don't know what's going on anymore. I would have to imagine. You know what? I'm not going to sit here and spew stuff when I have a Google machine in front of me that I could figure it out. I'm not going to. Let's just go ahead and keep going with the news here.
Please.
Dancing Goat, they're going to have release number 8 called I Would Ride For You. Ryan, I would ride for you too.
I know you would.
This is a repeat of
in
one
your
of the
electric vehicle.
We'll go for a ride. Most popular releases of the same name. It's a Prince-inspired name for a purpley port-finished rye blend. Clocks in at 108 proof. The base distillate is a 9-year MGP, 95.5 Canadian-style cooperage. And they said they had some fun with some port barrels. It was an 8-barrel blend in terms of the port cask. Most of the wine had a majority percentage of Concord grapes that carried really through to their individual casks. Welchy, but not like Raquel. That's not what it said. We used some older Petite Syrah port cask to balance out the overly sweet notes, and they were pretty pleased with it, ending up yielding around 375 wine gallons at 108 proof, bottling 316 six-pack cases. And they're starting to roll out now to Illinois and Wisconsin and hitting stores at an SRP of $60.
I like their stories and their packaging, the names and stuff. They're pretty funny.
It's actually, I got that bottle right down there. So shout out
nice.
To the folks over there. They just sent a bottle for us to review.
I've always enjoyed their stuff.
Yeah, they do some amazing blends and amazing finishes. Honestly, if you've never had it, I'd say put it on your radar. If you're a Sealbox Bourboner Pro member, maybe just add one to your cart, see what you like. If you don't trust us, then you can blame Ryan.
Sorry, I like it.
All right. It gets the Bourbon Pursuit stamp of approval, but it will be coming to another Whiskey Quickie to you soon. Keeping on with some more sports-themed stuff here. Elijah Craig is announcing its designation as the official bourbon of the 2025 PGA Championship, and that's going to take place at Quail Hollow Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is happening Monday, May 12th through Sunday, May 18th. And to mark this prestigious partnership and celebrate the championship, what do you think they did?
They toasted something.
Well, they did come out with a bottle. So it's a 94 proof small batch bourbon, and it's going to feature a special label and proudly display the official bourbon of the 2025 PGA Championship with their logo as well. And they tried to make things sort of a combination. So they selected barrels from Heaven Hills Distillery Q and H1 Rickhouses, paying homage to the PGA Championship return to Quail Hollow. Yeah, yep. $37.
I'd like to see those TTB reports. Make sure they pulled them from there. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a good story, but honestly, I think it's fun. Like they're really good when it comes to that, and I love how they are taking a stronghold on golf and really running with it. And
they've done the Ryder Cup and PGA for the last 3 or 4 years. It seems like.
I would love to know what kind of ROI they're getting from it, and I hope it's out of this world, because it's really a kind of a
part
cool
is
thing.
You can't even track it.
Well, no, I mean, you have sales at these things. You have cocktail sales. You have this. I mean, you're on national TV doing broadcast, and there's got to be something of just
think Max Homa is the guy they sponsor.
That is.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's. I hope it's paying dividends, because one day we can sponsor like a pickleball team or something.
Blue Note did that. They took our glory.
Actually, but wasn't Penelope going to do that at one point too?
They talked about it. I don't know if they ever did.
They went through with it. Blue Note beat them to it though.
I think Penelope should do NASCAR instead of Luxro. That fits.
I don't know.
I'm kidding. I know.
Like,
I know. It totally doesn't fit.
I was like, Luxro is very on brand.
Yep.
Too bad they don't have that Rebel in there anymore. It's just because it was Rebel Yell, right?
Right. Now it's just Rebel.
Yep. Yeah. Missed that opportunity. All right, we got 3 more news stories to go here. This is one that you're probably going to break the bank, and why wouldn't you? Because everything does from Last Drop Distillers. They're announcing their 2025 collection featuring 3 whiskeys that celebrate the unique maturation methods used by the most prestigious distilleries around the world, and the one that we care about is a 27-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon from the place that has recently flooded, Buffalo Trace Distillery. This is release number 37. Their other 2 releases are a 55-year-old single malt scotch from the Tomintoul Distillery and a 22-year-old Japanese blended malt whiskey. So release number 37, which is the 27-year bourbon, is one of the oldest bourbons yet to be released from this distillery, which is Buffalo Trace. Let's see. It's 3 of their oldest barrels ever, distilled in 95, 96, and 97, come from decades of careful aging under expert supervision at the distillery's state-of-the-art maturation facility, which is Warehouse P. It's bottled uncut and unfiltered from the ultra-rare bourbon that is bottled at 121.8 proof. Around 508 bottles will be available at a suggested retail price of $10,500. But that's in a 700 ml. But you get a 50 ml bonus kicker in a miniature bottle.
Oh, so you get a little taste of it. See if you really want to take the plunge.
Yeah, you're like, should we open this guy?
You're like, I should get that before I buy the 10,000. See if I want to spend the 10,000.
Like, you're already bottling 50 mLs. Just sell 50 mLs. Do it for what?
I don't know the math on
$250 for an ml.
Yeah, and
you probably make more than that, right? No, wait. Would it? No.
God, can you imagine bottling that many 50 mLs?
So let's see. You got about 14 per. So we take 10,500 divided by 14. You're at $750 per.
Oh my God!
Per
for 50
so
ml.
You would have to sell it to make it worth it. You probably have to sell it at least $800 to $1,000 per 50 ml.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, because you would have to. Oh man, that'd be a lot of bottles in. Because this is 508 bottles of a 700. So that'd be quite a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of scratch. It's a lot of mLs. All right. Here's another brand new one. Maker's Mark are announcing the debut of something brand new. We had a little bit of a sneak peek.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody told us, they're like, hey, we're coming out with something. And Ryan goes, I bet you it's a whiskey.
I did.
But they wouldn't tell us exactly what it is. But here it is. Star Hill Farms Whiskey. This is the distillery's first ever new mash bill and first wheat whiskey. Star Hill Farm Whiskey will evolve each year, exploring the flavors that soil, wheat, water, and wood impart to quality ingredients when expertly blended, aged, and grown regeneratively. The 2025 release of Star Hill Farm Whiskey is crafted from 2 mash bills, one with 70% soft red winter wheat and 30% malted barley, the other with 100% malted soft red winter wheat. It's 114.7 proof. And this 2025 release will have a suggested retail price of $100 and will be available not only in the United States, but as well as the United Kingdom beginning mid-May and later in Australia in 2025.
All right. I mean, I'm not surprised. This is very cool. I'm excited to try it. I'm assuming we'll get to try it, but I'm a wheat whiskey fan.
So. I'm a big wheat whiskey fan. I mean, the trend is wheat. The trend is wheat now. Like, you can't get away from it. So
the trend used to be gluten-free. Now they're like, give me all the wheat.
We distilled all the gluten out. So
we want your Tito's that's gluten-free. Now we want wheated everything.
Wheated everything.
Humans, they're fascinating.
But I do think that this is going to be a home run for them. I like to see them branching outside of the category. We had kind of thought the same reason we think like Four Roses is going to come out with a rye whiskey, that they were going to come out with a rye whiskey, but giving us a little of the curveball, going with the wheat whiskey. I do like it. I think it's a good pivot for them. It's interesting to see that they're going to come out with a brand new product that isn't their regular maker's bourbon or finished in some way. So very cool to be able to see that. If I had to guess, that Denny Potter had something to do with this back in his era when he was there.
Yeah, he's just coming off Heaven Hill, making weeded whiskey there. So probably took some of those lessons and took it over to makers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and say I know anything, but it's just a good estimation here.
Yeah.
All right, our last one here, Wild Turkey. They've announced that they are bringing Wild Turkey 101 8-year-old bourbon back to the United States as a permanent offering, with the product rolling out on shelves alongside the classic Wild Turkey 101 this April. In recent years, 101 8-year-old bourbon has been exclusively available in select export markets, where it garnered devoted following and became a best-selling cult favorite among consumers and collectors around the world. Compared to the standard Wild Turkey 101 offering that is made of a blend of 6 to 8-year-old bourbons, this particular 8-year blend is a smaller batch of barrels that are hand-selected. It's packaged in a 750 ml, and suggested retail price is $45.
I mean, I'm not surprised. You know, we kind of predicted this, that all these big distillers would have more aged stock available and need ways to outlet it. And here's another example of it. And it's exciting for whiskey fans. It's a win-win for whiskey fans.
I have no reason to travel anymore. That's right. That's the only reason I traveled to Europe
to go get
8-year Wild Turkey.
That's right.
Now I can just go down the street and get it. Well, I guess it saves me a few bucks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because the first round of these are going to fly, but then it's going to be interesting to see if it'll be, shelf available.
Well, the interesting thing about this is that, I mean, and we should probably have DJ from Redbird chime in on this, is that, I mean, wasn't it always 8-year 101? And at some point they said, we're going to drop the 8-year age statement, bring it down and do whatever they got to do.
I'm not sure.
I don't know either. Just to kind of understand.
The turkey bottles that I have from the 80s do have 8-year age stated, and they weren't export bottles. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. At some point they just dropped the age statement.
Yeah.
Now they're bringing it back with more shelf space to take up.
Coming soon, Turkey 10.
Turkey 10 year. Turkey 10 year. Well, that, or there'll just be more. There'll be some kind of barrels available. There'll be something that the whiskey geeks will flock over.
Yep.
I know. I want to try it now too.
I do too.
I actually want to try it against the regular stuff in a blind and see if we can figure it out.
Because we did that when Russell's.
All the Camp Nelson.
Yeah, the Camp Nelson stuff. And we're like, well, how is it different than these Russell picks? But they were better. Yes. Like Camp Nelsons and stuff.
They were. Well, man, that was a lot to catch up on.
Ooh, that was a lot.
I know. We took a week off for spring break. We come back. The whole world's changed. I'm a little more tan, a little more nasally for this week, but...
You are.
I know. I feel like...
I got some sun on my face, but not my body.
What are you doing?
I was wearing a sun shirt.
Oh, okay.
I hate the sun.
That's right, because you weren't on a beach. It's not like you're going to be horseback.
I mean, I was... true, but I was at the pool some.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, you probably should have just taken your shirt off to horseback riding. Be like, I'm just trying to make sure I don't get
all these gnats on me.
Is there a lot of flies out there?
There was. I was surprised. There was a lot of. I mean, we're out in a field, so it's like there's bugs everywhere. But I thought the big spiel about Arizona was like, we don't deal with bugs here because we don't have any humidity. I mean, granted, they weren't like mosquitoes, but they were a ton of flies. Probably because they're horses, and flies love horses.
Any scorpions?
I didn't see any scorpions, didn't see any rattlesnakes, did see a bunch of lizards and some red-tailed hawks. That was fun.
You know, the interesting about my cruise that I was on Utopia of the Sea, shout out Royal Caribbean, I didn't see a single fly on this boat the entire week. And
that's impressive.
I mean, you got 7,000 people on a boat with a bunch of food, because nobody's finishing their plates on a cruise, right? There's just a bunch of leftover food everywhere. I mean, it was spotless. Didn't see a single mosquito or fly or gnat or anything.
I mean, you're in the middle of the ocean, so there's not really anywhere.
But as soon as they get on the boat, they go with you, right? They're not like, yeah, I've had enough here, I'm gonna go ahead and fly away, and then they go, oh, I don't have enough energy to get back to shore.
I'm not taking this ride with you.
All right, that's it. That's This Week in Bourbon. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Toodles.